Welcome to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Devotions designed to inspire you on your daily walk with God. Here's your host, Ken Gurley.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Back home. It's good to be back home. Let's see, I forget to do this. Let's see, who was first today that showed up? Shauna, you were first. Gloria, you're next. Miriam. Let's see, those are Facebookers. Let me see if I can find the first YouTube. April, you are the first YouTube. Linda, you are the second. Yeah, this is a race. You see the checkered flags behind us. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here and seeing some good things happen in our day and in our hour. Welcome to Morning Devotion. I just believe God has got his hand on our day, what he's doing, what is happening. This is a wonderful Tuesday, February the 22nd. This is Taco Tuesday. Yes, that's the greatest small group in our church, Taco Tuesday, folks. Oh, did I say greatest? Oh, I am in trouble. Ronald, it's good to have you here. Kimberly, it's good to have you here. I've never not finished. First of all, I've always been told never to use never and never to use always. Always avoid always, never use never. But certainly not use never when you're also using another negative. I've never not finished. But that's a quote. That's a quote that I want to share with you today. I just felt this morning, and we need this. We need this today because today, Alex, the clients, good to see you, Tina. Today we pause. We pause because we're in difficult days. Globally, things are difficult. You got the news last night. I did too. Russian troops on the move in East Ukraine. Many believers in that nation. Many innocent civilians caught. We need to pray. Oppression rearing its ugly head. We see horses trampling innocents, pastors arrested, voices of our fellow human family silenced, not just in former Soviet bloc nations, but here in North America. We live in perilous times. We pause. We pause because we know that there's a lot of uncertainty in this world. Economically, we're moving into uncertain times. The pandemic has been a one-of-a-kind so-called black swan event. Its economic impacts were lessened, delayed by a lot of stimulus money, a lot of plans. But now, inflation, hardship, supply chain just seems to be coming home to roost. What does this mean for you and for me? I think it means this. Sterling, Donna, I think it means this. These days are those days. Yes, we are living in the days that were prophesied about. These days are those days. We're living truly in the last days, but we've got one another. We're going to hold one another up, and the Lord is with us, and the Lord is going to help us. Can I get a witness to that? I believe that with all my heart. We're going to assemble ourselves together all the more. We're going to provoke one another to good works, and we're going to comfort one another with these words. Yes, we are. Maranatha, he comes soon. I believe against the backdrop of all of this uncertainty, God's got a plan. We're going to see the greatest awakening. I said we, Morning Devotion family, devotees, we, John, Estella, Christiana, we're going to see the greatest awakening this world has ever seen in our lives, our homes, our families, our churches, our communities, our states, our provinces, our nation. We're going to see it. With all of the world's oppression and all of the angst, you and I have got to make up our minds. We're going to finish this race. We're going to hold on to the end. We're going to reap if we faint not. I know there's some wonderful signs. I read of Australia reopening, families being reunited after 2 years. Oh, folks, come on. We've been through some of the roughest 2 years of our lives. I can't turn back now. Amen? I can't turn back now. Gretchen, Lynn, we can't turn back Now, we just got a purpose in our heart. This moment, this time, we're going to finish the race. Yes, we are. I just was reminded this morning of a story I read long ago. It took me a while to find it, and I'm going to share it with you. And I'm going to even encourage you to go out to YouTube. I think there's a little 10-minute documentary of this story. I think you're going to be touched. It's a quote from an amazing young man who said, "I've never not finished." Yes, needs to be our attitude here today. I've never not finished. Yeah, get the word out. Like, share, subscribe, get the word out. And let's just see what God's going to do. What God's going to do. So Melissa, Kirk, Catherine, got to finish. Every morning in Africa when the sun comes up, a gazelle awakens and knows that it must run faster than the fastest lion or it will perish. Every morning in Africa, when the sun comes up, a lion awakens and knows that it must run faster than the fastest gazelle or it will go hungry. It doesn't make any difference if you're a gazelle or a lion, because every morning in Africa, you'd better wake up running. Well, let me just tell you something. In these last days, you better wake up running. You better wake up. Hey, I've got confidence in our morning devotion group. You wake up running. Yes, you do. We just got to wake up and move forward. It was a number of years back. I read an article that Air Force One slowly came to a stop. The tarmac of a Greenville, South Carolina airport. You know, all the officials, all the dignitaries of the Palmetto State lined up to welcome the President of the U.S. and all of his entourage. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. The President was in Greenville to give a speech at the local BMW plant. And when his feet landed on the runway's carpet-strewn surface, the President scanned the crowd because a special guest was there who had been invited to meet him. Standing awkwardly on the tarmac was a young man surrounded by his brothers, his sisters, parents. The young man held in his hands a gift for the President. It was a jersey from his local high school. The young man had previously been interviewed on NBC Nightly News. He had been the subject of a segment on Good Morning America. October Sports Illustrated that year carried an article about him. What's so special about that young man? That young man is a loser, according to the world. He's never finished first. But he's a winner in God's world because he always finishes. He finishes. I want to tell you about him today. I want to tell you about this young man named Ben Coleman. But first, a passage of scripture from a minor prophet speaking to exiles, speaking to those who knew this world was not their home. Micah 7, therefore I will look unto the Lord, I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. And then that verse 8 we love. Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy. When I fall, not if, when I fall, I shall arise. When I sit in darkness, not if, when I sit in darkness, the Lord shall be a light unto me. And Amanda, Dorinda, Anna, may that be a promise to you today. So I want to tell you about a young man. Let me see, I've got a picture of him. His name is Ben Coleman. Ben was 16 years old at the time of this photo. He and his twin brother, Alex, were born 10 weeks premature. What was not apparent at first was seen by Ben's parents, David and Joan, when the twins were about a year old. Alex was developing normally, but Ben was not. Cerebral palsy diagnosed. Ben, Alex, both very intelligent boys, both inducted into the National Honor Society. The problem was not in Ben's brain. It's just that his body couldn't listen and respond quickly to Ben's brains. Ben runs track. He searched and searched and searched for something he could join a team. He didn't want to sit on the bench. He wanted to participate. He runs distance. He runs cross country. He runs with great difficulty. When Ben was 13, he decided he wanted to run track like his dad did. His mom called the coach, fearing that her son would be rejected. But the coach spoke 3 words: bring him on. And over the years of coaching Ben, the coach said there isn't 1 inch of Ben that he hasn't had to bandage. He affectionately calls Ben Crash because Ben falls, and he falls a lot. He had surgery. The femur of one of his legs was cut into and rotated 40 degrees, and the surgery helped him run somewhat, but just even a tiny pebble can trip Ben up. And when he falls, his body can't respond in time to shield itself from impact. So when Ben falls, and he falls a lot, he falls very hard. But he'll push people away. He doesn't want them to help him up. It might take him several minutes to get up. His mother can't bear to watch it. She says it's like a pine tree falling in the forest. Slow motion. Tragic. But fall Ben does. But Ben learned a lesson you and I need to know. He always gets up. And when he crosses the finish line, he's always bleeding from many falls. But Ben says his goal is not to win. Winning for him is simply finishing the race. And with pride, after his last race, this boy said, I've never not finished. Some 20 to 30 minutes after the rest of the pack has crossed the line, Ben is going to be seen in the distance, moving awkwardly toward his goal. I've never not finished. CL, Lawanda, Jean, may it be said of us, we've never not finished. Because this life, the Apostle Paul tells us, it's a race. It's a race that's got many, many setbacks. It's like waking up in Africa. Yes, yes. Doesn't matter if you're the gazelle or the lion. It's a race. You get up each and every morning saying, today, Lord, give me grace for today's race. I don't need help for yesterday. I don't borrow from tomorrow's trouble. God, I just need help to finish today's race. Because each day, Jesus said, sufficient is the day for the trouble thereof. Each day has its own adversity. Each day. Folks, we're living in the last of the last days. We'd better wake up running, because all of the forces that would try to slow us down and trip us up, they are manifold. We've been born running, but through this course of life, we understand, Lonnie, Ron, you know, the race is not to the swiftest, nor the battle to the strong, but he that endureth to the end. We're in a race. We're in a race. Micah knew the feeling. Only a minor prophet during one of those periods of exile, his message seemed to fall on deaf ears. He began to list all the people who had let him down. Fickle politicians. Can I get a witness to that? Corrupt judges. Faithless family members. Micah is describing enemies on the outside, enemies on the inside. Everyone, it seems, was against Micah. And that may be the way it feels to you, that it's just you against the world. No one to trust in, no one to turn to, that none of us is exempt from the adversity of life. Every creature seems to be born with its natural enemies. The mouse fears the cat, the rabbit fears the winged predator, and so on and so on. The entire world seems conspired against the righteous and those who would stand true and honest in the last days. But may we always say, I've never not finished. In fact, the greatest adversity we have in this life, especially in the last days, it's ourselves. We can be our own worst impediment and setback. We fight against what God would have us do. And we hear voices whispering in our head, God doesn't want you. You can't make it. You're not good enough. He doesn't love you. Hear me when I tell you. We were born in sin. We were born with crooked feet following crooked paths. But the Lord loved us while we were yet sinners. Yet sinners. Elaine, Paula, he loves you. Remember the words sung by Donnie McClurkin, we fall down, but we get up. In the race of life, we're going to fall. I don't think he was a gospel singer, but Sinatra said, you may ride high in April and you'll be shot down in May. That's life. Hey, I'm sorry. I quoted Frank Sinatra. That ought to be a crime on morning devotion right there. Micah looked around and said, there's not a soul I can lean on. I leaned on the government, it let me down. I leaned on the courts, they let me down. I leaned on my closest friends, let me down. Here's what he said, Micah 7:7. Wow. Therefore, I will look unto the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. You hear the patience of faith. The patience of one who said, I tried it all. It hasn't worked, but I'm not giving up. I'm waiting on God. There is a lifting that takes place when you wait on the Lord. You can run. I don't even know if this is a word, unweariedly. You can walk. I know this isn't a word, unfaintedly. And suddenly you will feel the soaring strength of God lifting you up. Proverbs, Solomon said, a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again. When Ben Coleman falls, and he does at least once in every race, it takes him a while, but he gets up. He doesn't like people to help him. That's Ben in the corner of the screen if you joined us late. He said, I don't want people to help me up. It messes up my flow. One of his fellow runners said, if Ben's heart had legs, he'd be the best of us all. You have to have a heart to look beyond your adversities. Don't lose heart, folks. Don't lose heart. Say, I will finish. And if I finish, I win. Do you remember the story of Jesus when he cleansed the temple of the money changers? You read in the very next verse, then came the lame, the halt, and the blind into the temple. That the Lord created a vacuum where people with setbacks could come in. People want to see the beauty and the agility and the grace of high-dollar athletes. People pay to see the grace of those who excel at the top of their field. Who would pay to see a person clumsily perform a task? But in God's world, it's the lame who takes the prey. It's not the survival of the fittest, but the patience of the saints who triumph. The winner is one who finishes. Catherine, Phyllis, Denise, Kathy, you've got to finish. Got to finish. I read recently of a group of soldiers who were required by the Japanese to build a bridge over the Kwai River Basin in World War II. The captives were hostile one to another. Finally, they began to share one another's loads. They called it the Church of the Captivity. And on Sundays, they worshiped. When the Allied forces finally freed them, it was the former captives who protected their captors from being executed. You learn a lesson from the Kwai River Basin. You learn a lesson from Micah. Those in exile, those in captivity, rejoice not against me, O mine enemy. When I fall, I shall arise. When I sit in darkness, the Lord shall be a light unto me. I'll be up again. Just you wait and see. Bad times won't keep me down. You remember that song? They'll just send me to my knees, and there while I'm in prayer, God will give the victory, and I'll be up again. Just you wait and see. There is a buoyancy to each child of God that defies expectations, overcomes obstacles, says, I'm going to get up. I'm going to finish this race. Eva, you got to finish the race. Lisa, you've got to finish this race. I will run with patience the race that is set before me. You've got setbacks I don't have, but we've all got setbacks. At one of Ben's races, when all the rest of the pack had crossed the finish line 20 or 30 minutes before, his little sister Megan saw Ben plodding in the distance, and she raced out of the stands and then just ran behind him to the finish line. And she started something, a tradition that continued in his races through his high school running. All those who finished first would wait until they could see Ben. They'd wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and they would keep waiting because the race was not over. Finally, Ben could be seen around the bend a few hundred yards from the finish line, his face crimson red with exertion, body bleeding from yet another fall. The crowd stands to their feet and they wait silently, and all of the contestants will run back to Ben. They will fall in behind Ben. And wrapped in that cocoon of tenderness and concern, Ben painfully struggles toward the finish line. Ben's mother has seen it so many times, but each time she sees it, she'll begin to weep. On one of the races, the big race, he fell 10 yards short of the goal. The crowd gasped. He tried to get up. He fell down. He tried to get up, and he fell down again. Then his brother, Alex, and a fellow runner got on each side of him, helped him to his feet, and barely were his feet under him, then Ben breaks from their grasp, crosses the finish line, and the crowd is cheering. You can almost hear Ben say, "I've never not finished a race." Ben always loses, but he always finishes, and Ben never finished alone. Can I just tell you, morning devotion? Wherefore, seeing we are also compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. I want you to finish. Cheryl, finish, regardless of the difficulties. Finish knowing that the sun is setting. Finish knowing that a cloud of witnesses are rising in the stands. Finish looking upon and to the one who died for you. Finish knowing that he's already come in first. All you got to do is finish. Don't give up. Don't give in. Don't lay down. Don't give in to despair and cynicism. Don't dig a foxhole of self-pity. Look up. Get up. Run on. Eyes on the prize. You're going to make it. Hope, you're going to make it. Carol, you're going to make it. Charles, you're going to make it. Pamela, Cassie, Lupita, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. Ashley, you're going to make it. Camilla, Winnie, you're going to make it. Lucy, each of you. Each of you. That's it, Cassie. Run on. Run on like never before. We've got our eyes on the prize, and it's far greater than anything you can imagine. God bless you. Thank you. Would you just share this with someone? May the Lord bless you today. Go have a terrific Tuesday, and don't forget those tacos on Tuesday, too. They make life better. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you for listening to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Join us next time for another inspiring devotion. To support this ministry, please visit firstchurch.com/give.